Well, I hope you've enjoyed all the recent videos from Scotland, but I'm back in Wales. So I think was it 6 or 7 videos from Scotland I've done. Anyway, back in sunny, glorious Wales. Sunny, beautiful day. I'm down on the Llyn Peninsula. So if you look at the map of Wales, and Anglesea's in the kind of top northwest corner, I mean, that bit that sticks out just below Anglesea, that's the Llyn Peninsula. And I'm looking at this bay. So it's been a beautiful, beautiful day. No clouds to speak of. Still quite warm, although it's the end of September. So getting some lovely sun, and I'm just working on an image with these rocks while the sun is shining on them, to try and get that. There's a well, what's left of it's like the gable end of a building is left over there. So I'm working on that. I got my polarizer in, and I'm trying out some new filters. So when I was in Scotland, I don't know how, but some of my filters snapped, which is annoying. So I've gone to 84.5. So I've got a graduated filter in from them, and I'm testing it out. So far so good. They're quite a new company, so the filters are quite competitively priced. I'm not getting paid for this, by the way, but they're resin filters rather than glass. And one of the reasons I've gone for resin is, I think how I broke my other filter was because it was glass. Something rested on it and just snapped it. So anyway, so far so good. So I've got this composition with these rocks in the foreground, and looking at the gable end of that building. But I'm quite interested in this rock shape. Now I'm imagining that this isn't going to be my final composition, because while I've been setting up, I've actually been looking over there, and I think I might get a better view of the rocks and more of a sweep. Also, there's a couple of camper vans just pulled up, kind of white vans that are kind of a bit of a distraction, which I'll probably have to filter out. But got the polarizer in just to take some of the blue out of the sky, or add some of the blue to the sky, I should say, and graduated filter just to balance some of the brightness out of the sky. But yeah, so the 84.5, pretty good service from them as well. And I'm just thinking that I might move. So it's lovely light on these rocks here, but I'm thinking I might move just over there, because I'm hoping to get a nice view of the sun on the rocks. So let's go for it. Let's move. But first video back in Wales for a while. Well, the sun's gone in for hopefully just a brief few seconds, but gives me an opportunity to tell you what I've been up to. So not come far. So I'm conscious that my camera's on the on the edge, so hold on to it a bit. So I was only previously just on that headland there, so 100 yards or so, but it really changes the composition. So previously I was in a landscape format trying to get the sweep of the bay, but now I'm in a portrait format, because I want to get the ruggedness of the cliffs lead into that headland over there. So well, unfortunately the sun's behind some clouds for a second, but I'll show you the composition on the back of the camera, which hopefully gives you an understanding. Sorry, unfortunately you can't see the sky because it's blown out, because I'm trying to let you see the rocks. So the reason I've gone portrait is I want these rocks leading up the image, and then there's handily that other rock there just provides a nice little bit of a break on one of the rule of thirds. So there was also, I've already taken a couple of images, there were also some nice clouds just above the headland when I was taking images, so that's quite good. But you can see clouds just behind the sun just behind the clouds at the moment, which is actually quite nice, but not what I'm hoping for, because I want light on here. So just a few more words about the filters, and I promise you I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not in a kind of a deal with them or anything. Just thought you'd be interested, because lots of people ask me about filters. So it's 84.5. and I bought two, but I think they were about kind of €40 each, which if you kind of work on exchange rates, kind of obviously less than 40 quid. But kind of, you know, they fit into the regular size holder. They seem quite good. I've used them a couple of times testing just to see if there's any, because sometimes kind of cheaper filters, when you process the image, you get a kind of a purple or a blue haze, but actually these are very, very good. So pretty pleased with them, and the range is a little bit limited at the moment. So I've got the 0.6 and 0.9 ND filters, but I think it might be a company worth keeping an eye on. So, but I'll let you know if how I get on. Well, I've moved again, and here comes the sun. Sun's just coming out. So what you can see is that beautiful salmony pink. So I was just there previously, but I while the sun was behind the clouds, I moved around a bit, and I've come down here because I think I've got a pretty nice composition. So this little inlet here I've got coming in the bottom right hand corner, and then the bit of this headland. I like the fact there's nice greens and yellows on here, so there's a nice lichen, and it's a bit jagged, but it also opens up this rock, this outcrop. So while the sun is shining, just move my filter around a little bit to balance that a bit. I'm pretty pleased with that composition. Now, I have to be honest, the challenge is not the composition, but those camper vans. So I put my hands up and say I'm going to clone those out because it would be too much of a distraction. So some people will say it's cheating, some people will say fine, but I'm going to I'll clone those camper vans out. So if you wonder why when you look at the image they're not there, it's because I've cloned them out. So just waiting for the sun to come through the cloud a little bit more. Another bit of cloud, so I'm going to wait another bit. So, but hopefully you see what I'm trying to do. It's a nice bit of kind of cliff with the sun in the right position to shine on there. Oh, and I'm not sure I've already mentioned, I'm going to stay here tonight. So I brought my tent, but I've not been able to find anywhere kind of secluded enough for my tent. So I think I'll sleep in the car. So I can put the back seats down, put my sleeping mat out, and Bob's your uncle. But then I'll be up early, hopefully. Lovely clouds behind me. Hopefully some nice weather, although the forecast is for a bit of cloud, but don't mind, it's a night out. So right, waiting for the sun. Well, unfortunately it's happened again. Clouds have appeared on the horizon just as the sun was going down, so it's kind of spoiled the sunset, but you know, hey ho. Oh, a chuff, I can hear a chuff calling. Can't see it, but I can hear it. They're, for those of you who don't know, chuffs are like a crow-like bird where they've got like a long red curved beak. Just heard it again, must be. Anyway, sorry, that's the kind of the ornithologist in me coming out. So because the sun's gone down, moved, so you can see my green bag there, I was there previously, so I've moved closer to the edge, just to try and make the most of kind of the sun is down, so we're in the kind of blue hour, so I can get a longer shutter speed and get some of the movement in the water, and hopefully the longer shutter speed get some of those waves coming around this rock here, some of the kind of waves coming in here as well, and makes a nice kind of effect. So I'm going with this inlet here coming in from the right hand corner, leading up to the horizons, a bit like a panhandle, but that I've gone to f/22 to give myself a longer shutter speed, and that's 13 seconds. And also the benefit of the kind of change in filter, they're quite tall, so I was able to push the filter so it's graduated, but I was able to push it down, so the graduated bit is actually covering the whole of the lens, so it gives me almost the effect of an ND filter without the graduation in. So I'm quite pleased with that. I'm just going to see how that turned out. Yeah, so some kind of nice movement in that water. So I'm going to wait a little while longer. Sorry, just turn that off. I'm going to wait a little while longer until it's gone, you know, a bit dark. It probably on the GoPro seems quite gloomy, but it's actually, you know, still bright enough to be wandering around on the cliff edge. So I'm going to have a go at that. So maybe wait another 10 or 15 minutes. Oh, morning. Bit of a difference from last night. So wind has really picked up overnight. I had quite a good night's sleep actually. So I put the seats down in the back of the car, put my mattress, sleeping bag out. It's not bad actually. But about 4 AM, 4:30, it started to absolutely hammer it down with rain, and the wind, the car was shaking. I'll turn that way so the wind isn't blowing so much onto the microphone. So the car was shaky, it was windy, and it's just now a bit cloudy, and it's about 10-15 minutes after sunrise. That's sunrise, but some clearish sky over that way, and the wind is blowing this way. So hopefully, as this kind of weather front moves through, we get some light. I'm not expecting blazing sunshine or glory, but just some light, some nice shades of different colours in the sky. So what I'm doing is I'm a bit further along the coast, and I'm trying to get this kind of headland, this little bit of a bay, into my scene. So what I'm trying to do is this little bit of a cove, this big rocky headland here, and then some of the sea. And I'm not sure you'll be able to see, but up on the kind of horizon there's the remains of that building. So that's where I spent the night. And also a couple of the Llyn mountain, I think, get my bearings right, yeah, I think so, which I've climbed and photographed and did a vlog from. So I've taken a couple already with the kind of relatively subdued lighting, but the wind is blowing quite strongly, so I'm hoping, oh, some chuffs. I mentioned chuffs last night. Chuffs above me. I don't know if you can hear them calling, but so what I'm hoping for, already that thicker cloud is quite advanced, so maybe in the next 20 minutes, half an hour, get a bit of colour in the sky, but hopefully get some movement in those waves. It was nice. It was nice being in the car and be able to hear the waves. So we'll persevere. Oh, what was I saying about breaking filters? Look at this. Just stupidly, completely my own fault. I was up there previously and I thought I'd come down closer to the water, and stupidly, rather than packing my stuff away and carrying it down, carried my camera over my shoulder and I banged it on a rock, and it must have just caught the edge of the filter and broken. So annoyed. Anyway, I'll have to get a replacement. So, it's quite sharp that actually, I have to be careful. Yeah, kicking myself now. So come down to the water just to get some of this wave action. Sorry, just not got the best kind of footing, but hopefully you get the idea here. Using these rocks as leading lines pointing towards the horizon, using this kind of little inlet pointing towards the horizon. Got my what's left of my filter in just for the sky. It's graduated ND 9.9, and I'm on f22 just to give myself a kind of big depth of field, but more importantly the slow shutter speed. It's given me a 1/4 of a second shutter speed, and let's have a look. Yeah, could do with a bit more movement, I think, in the water. So I might get the other filter out and push that right down. But hopefully you get the idea. And it's a bit more protected down here from the environment but I'm going to cry about breaking my filters because it's just annoying. I'm still kicking myself about that filter. It's just, oh. Anyway, I was round the corner down on the rocks. I've come back up onto the headland, and I'm looking in the opposite direction. So all my previous images, I've been looking that way, and you might just be able to pick out the headland with the building on it. So all of them have been looking that way, and I've come to look this way. And what I'm trying to get is the drama of what's going on here, because the wind is blowing. It's quite warm actually. It's not freezing, so you know, my hands don't feel cold. But there's a you can probably hear that there's quite a wind blowing, so it's whipping up those waves. Coast is rugged. There's a little bit of blue in the sky, so the cloud that I was talking about earlier is blown over. So there's kind of broken up cloud rather than that high kind of band that was passing over before. So there's a little bit of blue in the sky up there. Sea looks quite green. Just great. Great. And what I'm working on is just checking. Then I wasn't walking backwards. I'm going to fall off the edge. There's this little outcrop here, and it's got some lovely yellow lichens on it. Using that outcrop as kind of the foreground interest. Sorry, I put you in the right direction. Using that outcrop as the foreground interest, kind of just leading through, and I've got a kind of portrait set up. Just show you what I mean there. So here's that outcrop I was talking about, and I got that on my rule of thirds, and then handily the outcrops in the distance come onto the rule of thirds, so that helps in the process. I've got the filter in, what's left of it, and you might be able to see if I expose for the sky. Don't know if you'd be able to see. You can pick up the blues in the skies. So I'm going to take an image with the sky like that, because that's exposed for the sky, and then I'm going to expose for these rocks. And I'll probably have to blend those together. But yeah, I'm hoping for a kind of a little bit of bluer sky, because the clouds seem to be moving. So keep your fingers crossed for me. Sun's come out. So lovely light shining just on the tops of the cliffs. So same composition as before, but just with the added bonus of a bit of light. So it's shining on these rocks here as well. Not sure how long it's going to last, so take that image. And I dropped down to f11 for those images on the basis that f22, which I was using before, you tend to get a little bit of softness in the image, and I wanted quite a sharp image of that with the light on. So not that bothered about the movement in the waves this time, so wanted a sharper image. So you tend to find lenses at the kind of extreme ends of their aperture kind of settings lose a bit of image quality. So f22 on this lens, which is a 17-40, just a little tiny little bit soft. So drop down to f11 to get the sharper image, and there goes the sun behind the clouds. But I think it's going to be popping in and out. Well, that'll be the end, partly because suddenly gone cloudy and started to rain, but the weather forecast was for it to go a bit grim, so I think I've seen the best of the weather, and here comes the rain, definitely. Oh, I just found a friend. Hello. Hello. Oh, rain's really coming now. So yeah, I love cows. I used to do a bit of work on a farm, so I kind of like cows. It's a bit odd. Anyway, so that's the end of the trip. Hope you enjoyed a kind of a 12-hour stay on the Llyn Peninsula. Great place, rugged coastline, and sleeping in the car. What's my view? Not enough leg space. I'd prefer the tent. Couldn't really stretch my legs out. But anyway, that will be that. And it'll probably be a couple of weeks now before I make another film, on the basis that the eagle-eyed people will have noticed I've got this here. So that's a basal cell carcinoma, unfortunately. So I've got to go and have an operation next week and have that removed. So stay out of the sun, people. It's why I often wear hats. I've had issues with those sort of things before, so I'll be coming back, but I'll probably have a pirate scar. So a couple of weeks time and I'll be back, and autumn will be in full swing. So see you soon, and thanks for watching. Bye.